Hey there, Pastor Will here, and I am so excited that you decided to click on this video because it means that you are interested in serving in Little Life or in Kids Life, which we are about to relaunch here really soon. And most of you, I think, watching are probably people that wanted to come to our Kidmin Relaunch lunch, but for some reason weren't able to come to that. So I'm going to be sharing with you basically all the same information that we shared on Sunday. Or you might be watching this and it's because you're just curious in what it's like to serve in Kids Life. So I'm going to share that same presentation, share a little bit of my heart with you guys, and we'll try to keep this at around 20 minutes. You guys know I kind of have the gift of gab, just like most pastors. But I wanted to share a little bit of our heart for kids ministry with a story from Scripture that I didn't even think about as being a kids ministry story until very recently. It's from a class that I took on early childhood ministry. And the teacher for that class talked about the story of Moses. I think we all are very familiar with the story of Moses in Exodus chapter 2, about how the Pharaoh had ordered for all of the Hebrew boys who were under the age of 2 to be killed, and Moses was a baby at that time, but his mom hid him and then put him in a basket which she coated with tar and pitch, floated him down the river, and then his sister was watching. Lo and behold, he gets found by Pharaoh's daughter, the princess of Egypt herself, and Moses' sister Miriam is there watching and notices, and she says, "Hey, would you like for me to go and find a Hebrew maidservant to help you raise this child?" And the princess says, "Yeah." And he gets to go back home and live with his mom. And all we really see in the passage itself in Exodus chapter 2 is that Moses' mom got to raise him, and then she took him back to the Pharaoh's daughter at a certain point. But all the scholars on this seem to tell us that, or seem to think that Moses would have been 3 or 4 years old by the time he got handed back over to the princess of Egypt. And according to the traditions of that time, when it came to child raising, Moses' mom most likely every day would have been telling him the stories of old, the stories of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And in a land filled with false gods, he would have known about the one true God. And though she might not have seen the results of that right away, that seed was planted. And that's what we do in kids ministry. We plant seeds in the hearts and lives of our kids. And listen, you might not see that seed grow into its full potential right away, especially with our littler ones. But when you plant the seeds, we believe that it goes to do amazing things. Of course, Moses one day would go on to lead the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt. And that is, I believe, in part, that openness was because of the foundation that had been set for him when he was a child, when he was really young. So what you do matters. If you are serving in our ministries and you're serving in check-ins, or you're serving in Little Life, or you're serving in Kids Life, listen, it's not just checking in a family. It's not just you're planting a seed. It's not just showing a video to kids and then giving them a snack and a coloring sheet. You're planting seeds. It's not just leading a fun game or running a computer. It's planting seeds. So I want you to be encouraged by that. That's part of our heart behind this. But without any further ado, I do want to get to our orientation, our little training that we're getting to here. So I'm going to slip over here to our desktop. This is our Kidmin Relaunch New Returning Team Member Orientation. It's just fun to say it like that. Orientation. Anyway, y'all probably have to ignore me on some of this stuff, so we'll get to some of the basics. Number one, when are we going back? Well, you probably have heard this by now, but Little Life and Kids Life will relaunch every Sunday morning, starting on May 23rd at 10 a.m., and we are so excited about that. But what about Wednesdays, you ask? Well, we're still trying to get that figured out. But for the time being, throughout the summer, we're going to continue our First Wednesday programming, which means we're going to be doing Wednesday night programming at least once a month. And a big part of that, too, is we want to have our volunteer base grow a little bit, our team member base grow a little bit more. So if you've got friends that you think might be interested in serving, or if you know some people that you think would be great for helping us out, we are always looking to add more people to our team. But that's when we're going back. And then we've got a few serving opportunities available for you. We'll go over these very quickly. Number one is check-ins. Of course, you're helping get our families checked in using our check-in software. And you're also getting vital information from new families. That serving window is from 9:30 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. That's important because that's the serving window. When we talk about expectations in a few minutes, you don't have to listen to the whole show up 15 minutes before thing. This is for you. If you work check-ins, of course, you've also got Little Life. You get to take care of our littlest members and lead a small number of activities. Sarah has found an amazing curriculum from Life.Church with Craig Groeschel. You might know that name, you might not, but if you've got the Bible app on your phone, you've interacted with Life.Church. They have an amazing curriculum for little ones that is video-based, which means that when you serve in Little Life, you get to show that video. Also comes with an activity sheet that has some take-home information for parents. And since it's from the people that bring you the Bible app, it also connects in with the Bible app. So that's super cool. We're really excited about that. The shows that you see each week remind me a lot of Blue's Clues. Really well done, really good stuff. And then we're going to get to Kids Life. And we've got several different places you can serve in our ministry there. You can be a media tech, which means that you're basically in the sound booth running our slides and running our media, adjusting mic levels, things like that. A segment leader. You know, in our kids' church services, we have a bunch of different segments. There's the offering, there's game, there's memory verse, there are object lessons, so many different things that we do. A segment leader is someone who leads one of those segments from up front. And then, of course, we've got the bouncer, which might seem a little bit odd, but a bouncer is just a fun way for us to say someone who gets to hang out with the kids and help us maintain order, aka give the occasional stink eye, or separate kids, or go find a kid's parent. It's very rare that we ever have to get to that level, but that's a different training for a different day. And then, of course, we've got Sunday school. So Comfort Quest has been doing a fantastic job with this pre-COVID and making sure that we have Sunday school for our kiddos, especially for our pastors' kids and for our serve team kids. And she can always use a little bit of help because Miss Comfort, you know, life happens for her too. So we can always use some help in that department. And that meets in the room right next to Kids Life, right there off of that old foyer. So anyway, so what's new? So if you've been serving with us before, you're probably wondering, well, what's new? And I'm here to tell you in 2 words. Planning Center. And I am super excited about Planning Center. Planning Center basically refers to our church management system. We were using Church Community Builder, or CCB, for a number of years, but over the past few months, we have transitioned excuse me, to Planning Center, or PCO. This also just so happens to be the system that Sarah and I used in our previous church. And that means that with the new system comes a new check-in system. I will tell you that when we first came to Life Church, that's one of the things that I missed the most was check-ins, because CCB was unnecessarily hard and it was not user-friendly, and we just really didn't feel like it added a whole lot to what we did. But Planning Center check-ins is very simple. In fact, I'm going to show you one of the cool things about that really quick. I'm going to show you a couple of the name tags here, and we'll get into why this is important in a later time if you're serving in check-ins. But anyway, you'll notice with our check-in tags, this is Home Alone themed. This is the test tag that Planning Center gives us. I love the tongue-in-cheek stuff. But you'll see the kid's name. It is right here. And then you'll see the room that they're checking into. It's showing Lake Avenue. On our tags, it's going to show Little Life or Kids Life and the time frame, the time of the service. Not when they checked in, but the service that they're checking into. You have allergy and medical information right here, so snacks okay. So if you've got a kid with peanut allergies, you're going to be able to see that right on their name tag. So you know if you can give them a snack if you're in Little Life, or I can know if I can give them high fructose corn syrup if they're in Kids Life. So anyway, that's going to be right there. And also we're going to see afraid of being, just another little note, afraid of being left alone. And it's got the parent's number right here at the very bottom. And you'll also see a code on here, and this code corresponds with another tag that prints off. So I'll show this to you as well. This is from a test that I made, and you'll notice here you've got your child's name tag. We'll do one for each child, and if they've got a diaper bag, they'll get another one that looks just like this. You'll notice this alphanumeric code that's right here, that R9F8, and then you've got a check-in tag. This is what we use to make sure that the right kids go back with the right people. And you'll notice that this code is the same here as it is here. Anytime this child is going to be checked in, if they're going to be checked in again, it's going to generate a different code. And that just helps us to maintain safe practices. in, check-ins as a whole, I think having something like this really speaks to parents that we value safety, and that in and of itself is worth the price of admission. So we'll get into that. Oh, I did that again. Did that again in another time I had recorded this. Anyway, back to the PowerPoint. And also we've got Planning Center services, which we're going to be using for scheduling. And we'll talk about scheduling here in a little bit. But currently our usher team, our greeter team, and Little Life and Kids Life are all using the same system. And the goal is to have our media team and worship team using this as well, to where everyone can kind of see who's serving. And you'll see why that's important here in a few minutes. Anyway, that's what's new. Of course, another thing that's new is COVID-19, because that's the whole reason why we couldn't meet to start with. So here are the precautions that we're going to be taking, because I know that you guys are going to be asking. Everyone will be asked to wear a face mask and face shield, even babies. Kids will wear protective COVID bubbles that we've got ordered. They're super cool. Be fun to do some games with those. All of our workers will be required to get a COVID test every week at your own expense. Sorry. All of our workers will be required to wear a hazmat suit and carry Lysol spray in a holster. No one is permitted to serve if they cough or sneeze within 24 hours of serving, because we value the safety of our kids that much. Just kidding. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. We are not going to be going to those extremes, but we are going to be implementing what we feel are just kind of, general safety precautions. We feel like they're fairly reasonable, especially considering where our church is located. Number one, we're going to try to maintain the same standards as our school system. That's kind of going to be our model. And we're going to do forehead temp checks for our leaders, just like you'd see with restaurants. If that makes you feel better, we want to make sure that our parents also feel better whenever you go to a restaurant. We're going to do forehead temp checks for leaders, not for kids anymore. Masks for leaders. And we're going to try to do 3 feet of social distancing for the kids per CDC's recommendations. Distance seating in Kids Life. And we're going to be taking out the mats. If you've seen us for First Wednesday, we've done those, but we're going to be bringing back the chairs. We're going to try to distance those out about 3 feet apart as well. We're going to try to minimize physical contact as much as we can, though if you're serving in Little Life, that's going to be pretty tricky. Kids 5 and up will most likely be required to wear a mask for the first few months. This especially applies to our Sunday morning services. This isn't quite as big of a deal for our Wednesday night services, but again, with a lot of these things, I know a lot of people watching this probably have different views when it comes to how many precautions do you really need to take when it comes to, working through COVID. And the reality is for us is we are in an area where a lot of our parents are a little bit more protective of their kids when it comes to these matters. And as the Apostle Paul said, we've got to strive to be all things to all people. And as a result of that, we're, taking a few more precautions than we might if our church was located in, say, Hiram or Dallas, where the attitudes around COVID are not quite as strong. But anyway, I'll leave that there. And then leaders also should notify team leaders, or will notify team leaders if they get sick prior to serving. This is something that we would be doing with or without COVID. And I do want to make that point clear. If you have any liquid discharge from either end, the top or the bottom, or if you have a fever within 24 hours of serving, don't serve. Don't come, but do let us know. Again, that's been a part of our rules from before we even came here, but it's just a common sense, a safety protocol for us. And next, I'm going to go over what you can expect from us. There are a few things you can expect. Number one is weekly communication. Whether you're on the schedule or not, we're going to send out that email anyway so that everyone's on the same page, just in case there's something that comes up where we need someone to step in, fill in, and also to keep everyone on the same page as far as announcements and things of that nature. Number two is scheduling through Planning Center services. We already kind of covered this a little bit, but Planning Center, you'll see an email that will come from Sarah or myself, and it will have a little message that says, you've been placed on the schedule for the following services. Please click accept or decline. And I'm asking you, please click accept or decline. My general rule of thumb when it comes to Planning Center scheduling is that if you don't hit either of those, I'm going to assume that you're going to be serving. And I'm not going to just go and track you down please respond as soon as you get these. Now, one thing that you can look forward to with this, though, is if you have a schedule and you like to plan, we do try to do advance notice for scheduling, and that typically is done within 8-week blocks. So for us, what that really means is that about every 6 weeks, we'll go ahead and schedule people out for the next 8 weeks, okay? And we typically do that in 2 different drafts because inevitably people's schedules are going to be different every 8 weeks. There might be a family function that comes up. There might be a vacation, a surgery, whatnot. So we do that in 8-week blocks. So please respond to those emails as soon as you get them. That helps us make sure we've got our plan nice and tight. Also, we're going to work to do regular leaders meetings. I can't make any guarantees about how frequent these will be, but we are going to try to go for at least once a quarter. Flexibility with scheduling. This is really important for us because one of the things that we've learned and that we saw at our previous church is that you've got some people that want to serve once a month, and that is going to be our minimum here, is once a month, and that's fine. But you've got other people that really love kids ministry, and they really love serving in the nursery, and they want to serve more than that. And if they don't get to serve more than that, then they feel like they're being gypped of an opportunity to serve. Not everyone's that way, but I've legitimately seen this happen. And we want to make sure that you are able to serve however often you want to serve. Okay? And along with that, another important point is you can expect from us reasonable scheduling. So you might say, I love kids ministry so much I'm going to be in there every single week. You're not going to be in there every single week. Hate to burst your bubble there. We're going to give you at least one Sunday off. Actually, our goal is to schedule people at the most right now twice a month, if you'd like to do that. And also, if you're serving in another ministry, I know there's some of you that might be watching this that maybe you serve on another team. Maybe it's the greeters team or the hospitality room or in the information booth, wherever that is. We're not going to schedule you to work 2 kids' church services when we know that you're already going to be serving in another area. We want for everyone to have a chance to go and worship on their own because you got to be able to you can't pour out what's not being poured in. So anyway, that's important for us. Reasonable scheduling. And then as volunteers, here are some things that we expect from you. So you know what you can expect from us. Here are some things we expect from you. Number 1, respond to your PCO request. We already covered this. Let us know. Click accept or click no. Show up at least 15 minutes before your scheduled serving window. That applies to everyone. If you serve in Kids Life or Little Life, does not apply to our check-ins. Show up prepared. We are going to do our best to send things out in advance, at least 2 days prior. Usually it's going to be a little bit more if we can help that. But we expect for you, if you're scheduled to do an object lesson, if you're scheduled to do a game, to have read through it a few times and to be familiar with it. Don't just read off of a page. Sunday morning should not be the first time that you're looking over your lesson. Number 4, we want for you to engage with the kids. All too often, it's all too easy for us to get excited about going in and serving in kids ministry, and we get the system confused with the reason. Ministry is all about relationships, and all too often it's easy to just think about, oh, well, I'm presenting the object lesson or I'm presenting the game, and not really engage with the kids. But we don't want to see leaders just congregating towards the back of the room talking with each other instead of talking with the kids. We're here for the kids, so we want to engage with them. Along the same lines as our scheduling, one of the amazing things about Planning Center is the ability to set block-out dates. Block-out dates are basically dates when you know that you're going to be on vacation, that you know you're going to be out for whatever reason. So please notify us. That helps us when we go to schedule. You can do that through the Planning Center Services app, which is available in the Google Play Store or in the Android or Apple App Store, or you can even respond to that online. But you can set your blockout dates, so notify us of vacation. If you're not that technically savvy, don't know how to get to that point, can't figure it out, you can always email us and we can set those for you. That just helps us. Again, notify us if you are sick. We want to make sure that, if you have a fever, if you have any sort of other issues going on, that we keep our kids safe. And then commit to regularly serve for 6 months. This is an important thing for us to talk about, because we understand that all too often what happens in ministry, especially with kids ministry, is you have people that will sign up or maybe you just get asked to help out this one time. It's going to just be this one time, and then 5 years later, they still haven't found their replacement for you. Some people wind up just serving to fill in, and the burden is never taken off. And ministry, we want to treat as a blessing instead of a burden, but we want for you to know that we're not just signing you up to serve indefinitely. We're asking for you to recommit every 6 months. If you get through to 3 months and you start to think that you might not want to continue to serve, we're going to be in contact with you every 3 months to, where we can know how to account for things. So we'll contact you around the 3 month mark. That gives us time to fill that spot should you choose to go and serve in another area or just take a break from the kids ministry. But we want for you to commit to serve for 6 months. That helps you have a little bit of breathing room, and it also helps us have some breathing room as well. And also, we want for you to periodically complete a background check. If you serve in our kids ministries, we've got to have a background check on file for you. Many of you, we already will have a background check on file, but if we don't, we're going to be sending that to you. You get to do that actually through Planning Center. Again, we love Planning Center. You get to do it on your phone or on your computer, so you don't have to worry about us trying to shred or blackout or do anything like that. But we do require a background check. And the last little bit, and you'll see this, I've got a QR code that I'm going to show you, is we're expecting everyone who's going to be serving in kids ministry from here on out, whether you've done this before, whether you served in our ministry for 10 years or whether you're brand new, we want for you to fill out a application. And that just is mainly to make sure that Sarah and I have everyone's information in one place. And also it accounts for things like how often you want to serve, what your favorite candy bar is. Yes, it's important. Please fill it out. Or at least your favorite snack, even if it's hummus. I have my reasons there. And also, how often you want to serve, things along those lines, and where you want to serve at. This gives us a good idea. So you can scan that QR code if you were watching this on your computer, or your TV. If you're watching this on your phone, we've also sent a link along with this video. It's going to be in the description on YouTube. It's going to be along with the email. It's going to be, if I've posted this anywhere online, it is going to be there. So you can scan that and let us know. And please do that as quickly as possible. That way we can go ahead and get things scheduled out. But thank you so much again for your interest in serving in the kids ministries in our church. Feel free to reach out if you've got any questions. You can always reach me here at the church at 678-981-5433. My extension is 222, or you can reach me at will@lifechurchsmyrna.com. Thank you so much, and we look forward to serving with you soon.